Hey, we're in the same places now. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What's up?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so good to see you. We've actually been here talking for like the last 15 minutes and catching up, but everybody else is just tuning in for the first time, and I'm so excited that they actually get to be part of this conversation too. Because these are the types of conversations that like I love so much about the work that we all do together because it's like super nerdy and fun. So anyway, Johnny Cosmic to my right, I think. Josh Swain below me. Goody Goodwine Goodstofferson, aka Matthew Kofi Goodwin.
That's a lot.
Diag-
to live up to.
Well, I mean, you've got good shoes. Hey guys, we are here to talk about Mountain, the single that we just released just under 2 weeks ago now. And I just know that we've all had such an exciting time listening to this song in its various evolutions. First time I heard the demo, I want to say it was in March. And Josh just dropped some gold on us, which we'll share here in a little bit. But I wonder if, just to kind of start the conversation out, Josh, can you bring us back to the place where the lyrics first popped into your head and kind of like tell us where you were and what you were thinking about?
Yeah, for sure. So I just realized by sending you those voice memos, it was October 3rd, 2017. And I was in my kind of a condo apartment type building / bedroom-ish thing. And we had just gotten this little guy. Super cool, kind of changed my life in a lot of ways. And it, in order to like just be able to like lay in bed and just be like and like make songs, and like I will say about like writing tunes that every once in a while a kind of melody will just evolve in your brain, and I'm not sure if there was, it's been a long time, so I'm not sure if there was exactly a conscious thought to what the lyrics were, but there was like a melody that evolved, and it was like you know what I mean? So, but it was more like, because I kind of want to be quiet, like when there's people around and so. So it's very like in a lower octave, right? Which you can play those, but that's kind of how it started. And there wasn't really, I don't think like too much of a thought except like, it strikes me as kind of crazy that regardless of what's going on, what year it is, like what the overall like societal thing that's happening or the major issue that's happening in that day, there's always something to overcome, right? Whether it be personal or be with everyone, So for me, there's like almost always a thing to overcome, and I kind of wish it wasn't like that, but I don't know if I'd be necessarily the same person if there wasn't always like something I'm trying to figure out, some kind of issue with the way I feel about myself or the way I feel about life in general. And, we only need, I think it started as we only need our something like if we could only climb these mountains that we come across. I think that was the main lyrics for the chorus. And I realized that the cross and the we thing didn't rhyme, But anyway, so I was sitting there in bed and I remember it being late, and and I just kind of had this vibe, and it was just like, you know, and then I realized, hey, like a lot of my songs before have been like a strict melody for the chorus or for the main verse, and then go into a chorus that's different, back into a main verse that's the same, kind of stagnant, maybe a little monotone. And I remember this being one of the songs where I had like a cool change in the verse melody. So it was like, and then it went up. Yeah, we're so I was really happy about that. And so yeah, I actually came up with just a verse, just one verse, and maybe a little idea. I can't remember exactly what's on there for the chorus, but 2017, October 3rd, it's written in stone right here, and that's, you know, kind of how it went down. And I you know, I have like, you know, as Goodwin knows, you know, we have like 50 of these on my phone, you know,
Yeah.
little ideas and stuff that we'd go over in the hotel and in the bus, and some of them actually get made into songs, which is really cool.
Yeah, man. So, dude, October of 2017, I'm trying to think back to like, what you guys must have been on tour, maybe with New Kingston in October of 2017. And like that, you know, fast forward to March of 2020, the first time I heard the song, a lot happened between then and now, just for the song itself. So, and actually, you know, at some point it turned from a ukulele demo into like, you know, a more produced demo with instruments, and like kind of got into that like classically demo phase with drums and bass and stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, that was like a product of you bringing it to Goody and like Goody laying some instruments under it. Can Goody, what's the first time you remember hearing it? And like, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it's funny. Me and Josh were talking about it just a little while ago. We were trying to remember the exact hotel. I can picture the exact spot. I want to say it was in Sacramento, but we were on tour, and we had, I think, 2 or 3 days off, and we were posting up in this one hotel. So we're like, yo, all right, let's grab all the gear. We're going to pack it into this hotel room, and let's just like try and crush out a bunch of tunes. So I remember doing that exact thing, and we brought in guitars and basses, and I think we had just gotten those Axe Effects guitar processing units, and we brought those in, brought a bunch of keyboards in. It was a total madhouse in the hotel room. And then we just were chilling, and I remember showing Josh a bunch of demos of instrumental tunes that I had written. And then I remember at the same time Josh pulling out his phone and having all these voice memos from 2017 and all the way to the present. There was like hundreds of them, and he was just sort of like going down memory lane and, you know, going through a bunch of these. So I want to say over the course of those 3 days, we like sketched out like 6 tunes or something like that. But the one that we're talking about today, Mountain, yeah, Josh had this little uke demo of him singing along to it. And I remember him like starting to like just envision the tune. And I think he sort of beatboxed me what he thought the beat should be. Right. So yeah, I just remember being in Ableton. And most of the time when I'm like working on sketching a track out, I'll do it in Ableton. I just find it like a very creative space. It's quick to build ideas and just a fun environment. So yeah, I remember like quick programming a sketch of the beat that he had just kind of beatboxed to me. And then we started throwing in some fills. And then I remember Josh laying down just the skanks on the guitar. And then I think once we did that, yeah, I had a MIDI keyboard. And I remember like for me, I just love patch diving. I love like collecting samples and sound banks and things like that. And for me, I think the greatest joy I get is like trying to find really fat sounds or unique sounds or maybe just familiar sounds, you know, just try and like feel the tune out for what it is and explore the feeling of the lyrics and all those things. But I remember finding a really fat bass patch, I think on this VST instrument called Sublab. And yeah, we laid down this like sort of classic sounding bass line. And then Josh had his SM7 vocal mic and sketched out the vocal. And then I remember at the end of that little sesh, we had a sketch of the tune. But at that point, it didn't have the chorus that is the current chorus. I think the pre-chorus, the We Only Need to Climb These Mountains section was, that's what we thought was going to be the chorus, which is still a great chorus. You know, that could have been the tune. So yeah, then we finished the tour and broke, and like all good demos, they end up sitting for months on end. And then it's like, okay, we got to like re-engage on all this that we messed around with. And I remember getting back home and having some time off. And then, yeah, it was like, okay, let's hone in on a couple of these and try and get them ready to like hand off to Cosmic. And, you know, that's always like, in my mind, I'm always like, man, if I'm like handing music off to someone that I like really respect and inspire their, you know, I'm inspired by their body of work, that like, I want to do everything I can to put the little bells and whistles and like just little sounds to like give him a really nice picture to work with. So I remember sitting back in, it was just basement of my joint here, and got, you know, a bunch of keyboards set up. And yeah, I remember just experimenting for days, just with whirly patches for the one section. Got a bunch of other like sample banks that have really wild sounds. Like Omnisphere is one that I pulled up the session before we got going just to like remind myself of what we did. But yeah, just trying to find little moments, because after Josh sends his final vocal take, me and Josh, usually we collab and we kind of talk about, okay, how's the structure of this tune? Like, and Josh is like brilliant at this, you know, he'll be like, okay, yo, cut this down by like 4 bars or whatever. Let's make the intro a little shorter. Let's add 2 bars after this. I want to try and sing this new chorus. So can you build me the tune with a whole section here so I can try this different chorus idea? And with us living in very different places, I'm up in New York, Josh is down in South Carolina, Cosmic's out in Oakland, you know, and then Gary's down in Orlando and Jay's in Philly. So, and at the time we were dealing with COVID and we couldn't travel, we couldn't get together. So it was like, okay, let's use technology and let's just communicate. We'll send tracks to each other. And so I remember a whole bunch of rounds with Hook, just going back and forth with him and us trying to like really refine the vision for the tune structurally. And I think he threw a couple different chorus ideas back at me, and we talked about even exploring more. And then, yeah, I have a unique relationship to music in that I've never really heard music lyrically. For me, if like you wanted me to sing a tune back to you, like my favorite tune on the radio or some movement song, I would struggle to like hit you with the lyrics, right? But for some reason, my brain is always just like, I hear music in the instruments and in the vibe and the production. And I guess that's how I process music, which is probably very different from most of the people out in the world listening to the lyrics and the message. But I feel like what's great about this team in specific is like we all have these little specialties that maybe we fill in each other's, you know, I don't want to say weak spots, but just like, you know, we all have our own personalities and our own approaches to music, and like what Josh does lyrically and strong song structure wise is like a gift that I would like pray to the gods to give me one day, but I know I'll never get it, you know? So I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I get to work with Josh. And then with Cosmic, it's the same thing. Like the way he finishes a track and also how he mixes it. I'm always just like, man, how did you get the spread? How did you get it sounding like so fat and so warm and smooth? And then Cosmic always brings these last minute ideas of dropping things out, or like you'll hear just like the, you know, these like panning moments of like reverse sounds that like just from a mixing standpoint bring a whole level of production to it that is beyond the production of the choice of the sounds and the song structure and things like that. So it's kind of a dream to get to work with such amazing, talented people. And we just got to like send demos to each other, and here's an idea and here's an idea. And, you know, a lot of ideas get thrown out that don't end up making it to the finish line. But that's like the joy of the creative process. It's like you get to experiment without anyone hearing it. I remember in specific at one point, I think it was the first version that Cosmic sent back to us, the first mix we had heard. And he did this incredible dub remix at the end of the track, which like hopefully we release. It's like a B-side, but it was so fire. And like he laid this kind of quicker bass line rub-a-dubby thing.
At some point.
And I just remember being like so in love with it. I was like, we got to change the whole tune. Like that's the song, you know? I was like, that's so sick. But I remember us thinking I remember myself thinking like, we got to figure out how to sneak that bass line in.
Well, even Cosmic that made it was like, no, we're not going to do that.
Right.
We're not going to do that. I was like, you're the one that did it. Like, but I will say too, Goody, at the hotel, like when we were, when the kind of building blocks were getting made, you know, and I was like, okay, it's like a reggaeton beat, like, right? So you got your Ableton push, you know, you're doing your thing. And then we call in the one and only Gary Dredd in, right?
Yeah.
And it's like something that it added that little flair, because I remember him being like, so what you want, like, he's the one that can take something that should take 30 minutes and make it into like a 5-hour long session.
Yeah. But the best 5-hour session you've ever had.
Right. Because he wants to like do, you know, he's hearing something in every moment where it should be different than it is, you know, or better than it is in his ears, you know, and he's great at that. And there was that where I hear in the beat that is now is it might not have been there had it not been for him, you know. So you actually like I kind of said reggaeton, boom cha boom cha boom cha boom, right? And then you're like, how about this, you know, and you made it so much better. And then Gary came in, and I feel like he gave that like little extra tweak to where he's like, no, this is how it's supposed to be, because he knows his reggaeton, you know, he knows how it's supposed to feel. And those little syncopated snares, you know, and little fills in there that make it spicy, you know. I remember him coming up in there, and I think I had already moved on from Mountain. You know, you guys were now doing that, and I was like writing a different tune, you know, like going with what I had on my phone and trying to make up some stuff. Because I know me and you, Matt, will be like, yeah, we need like 7 songs by Friday. Like, like, you know, fuck this. Like, you know, we're being too slow. We need everything done by Friday. We can get it done. Let's call Cosmic. We'll have an album in like a month and a half. Like,
right.
You know, we have these like huge dreams, you know, and I'm not saying they couldn't happen, but these things tend to happen organically, you know. And I just remember that like Gary came in and did that, and then Jay was like off doing bass in a different room, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's just funny. But yeah, like when it comes down to, you know, we do all of that work kind of together, and then for me, like you were saying, what Johnny does is a little something magical. He's got this little Harry Potter fingers or something with a wand. That
well, we gotta bring
and I don't think
Potter finger. So Johnny, I mean, it's so fun to like hear the inception of this and like think about your perspective on something. Like you come in as a producer with more or less a fresh set of ears that hasn't been like listening and imagining this song for months and months and months. And like Goodwin said, there's like the, you know, like there's all these magical little pieces that like tend to, like when we hear a first mix back from you, it's just like, ooh, oh.
Yeah.
So Johnny, can you talk us through like what your first memories of like when the song was sent to you and like what your instincts were and like that B-side that we have to release at some point? The first version you sent was like a 9-minute version. It was like,
well, I've been kind of tripping on the idea of, because like I've noticed that a lot of times when we're making songs and stuff, like there's like we'll cycle through like a lot of different like concepts and ideas, and there's like little bits and pieces that are always really kind of interesting, but sometimes they don't make the full like structure of the song. You know, it's just like if you're trying to get from one point to another like fluidly and like, and it all like the strongest parts, and some of that more interesting stuff sometimes gets like left on the cutting room floor, you know, so to speak. So I started getting the idea of like, why not making like a B-side like version of the song? It's kind of like connected to the first song, you know, but that kind of incorporates all these other elements that may not fit in with like a pop structure, you know. So that's what kind of like led me to that. And I hope, I think it would be cool to get it out there, get you know, like maybe a feature spit on it or something. That would be cool.
Dude, we got to do the dub B-side with the ukulele version,
yeah.
like a 7-inch.
That's another good version. Like we got a snippet of it. I'm excited to hear like the whole thing in context. It sounded really cool. I like that version a lot. When I heard the initial demo, I like was struck immediately. I was like, dude, this has just got such a good feeling, man. Like the first thing like right away that stood out to me was the bass, you know, like it's just like, dude, this fucking bass has got like a bounce to it, you know, it just like makes you feel good, and and then the lyrics coming in, obviously, you know, Josh is a fucking lyric master. Like Goody was saying, man, it seems like I don't know, he just has a really great way with words, you know. So this song was no exception. The melodies were really interesting. That's cool, Josh, hearing you talk about the melody inspiration and stuff like that. Because they do feel real interesting, you know, like they felt like kind of different and fresh, and very catchy. I dig it. And yeah, like Goody did a fantastic job on like putting all the music together and stuff like that. Like my first instinct right away was like, this song doesn't really need much. Like you like just kind of like figure out how to let it be. It like not like go like. I felt like in a lot of ways, like my job for this song was to like make sure that I didn't like go too overboard or anything, to just kind of like you just let the song like naturally be itself, you know, because it just had an energy and a feel to it, you know. And getting Gary involved and stuff like that. It's cool to hear that he was part of like the pattern of the initial drum beat, the beat drums. Then we got him to add in some extra live drums on top of that, which was really nice. It gave the track a real like smooth and warm kind of flavor to the drums, which I really enjoyed. And then Josh was like, yo, what do you think about getting Clinton Fearon on here? And I'm like,
Clinton was in the comments just a minute ago too, saying he's listening along. We love you, Clinton.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, his voice is so amazing. I was like, yeah, of course, you know. And when he sent his I remember Josh, he called me up. He's like, yo, did you hear it? I'm like, oh no, I didn't check. I wasn't looking at my phone. What? And he's like, dude, Clinton sent the song. I'm like, oh shit. So like I just turned it on right there while he was still on the phone. And I remember just being like, oh my God, like, dude, this song just sounds so good. Like his lyrics, and its melody was just like so, I don't know, it just had so much soul, and it felt really good. So that was a really incredible experience, you know.
That was a cool moment when you pulled it up while we were on the phone.
Yeah.
And I remember we just both started dying laughing. We're like, oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh shit! You know what I mean?
Like,
dude, it was such a raw take, and you know, obviously it wasn't one take. It was harmonies. You know, it was almost like four different lines from him.
Beautiful harmonies. Yeah.
I remember it being like a little volume wise, it was like a little loud. But I was like in my head, and I think that we kind of came to this conclusion like over the course of editing that like it was the best way to go about it was to leave it as raw as possible, you know, because that is the beauty of Clinton's voice, you know. And it's funny because, you know, I did another thing with Clinton, and I was like just marveling at his voice and how he can still hit those notes like no problem, you know. It's like where even like, you know, guys 20, 30 years old, you know, can't hit these notes anymore. And we had a good discussion about that, but there's something about Clinton that for me turned the song into something that was unlike any song we've ever done. You know what I mean? It brought like this legitimacy to the track, where before it was like, okay, it's a fun tune, you know. But for me, when Clinton did his thing, it was like, holy shit, man, I just couldn't believe it, you know. So, and having been on tour with him and know the kind of person that he is, and to have that actually set in stone on one of our tracks, you know, for the ages.
Yeah.
For me, that was the true blessing of the song. And it's so cool to like think how, you know, starting from a song that was started in 2017 to go from like how it went, and I want to go like this around to all the squares, but my arm doesn't go over there. But it's so cool, you know, and even Jay's input on like what he thinks, you know, should be the chorus, and what how the bass line should go, and the things that he did, and just to have everybody's input. His Jay's guitar work that he did. So John,
a lot of people don't know about Jay is that he's a guitarist at heart.
So here's what happened. I go, hey, I've done everything I can do for the track. I'm like, I'm gonna call Jay, and Jay is gonna do this. And I remember, Johnny, you had to call Jay, and you guys worked through a lot of the cool, like that, the main guitar lick that goes through the song. That's Jay Miles. And for anybody that doesn't know, you know, he is a master guitar player, and that is actually one of the themes that goes through the song that actually kind of almost is as important as the vocal melody itself, you know, that you know, after every verse. So it's just really cool to see how each person play their own part, you know. And for me to have started it in 2017, you know, it's like I'm going through and going, well, what did I write in 2014? Maybe that could be the next single.
I bet there's some gems in there, man.
Yeah, for real.
And that's how we are, though. In the hotel, you know, we had enough material, I think, after those 3 days to write a new record.
So I just got to chime in, like, on the subject of Jay and his guitar part. Jay, we love you, by the way. So I remember, like, I got a call from Jay too, after like, you know, the first night that he had laid his guitar parts down and sent them back. And like, you know, I don't remember if the group text, like what it said, but I remember Jay calling me and being like, man, I really think it should be like kind of Paul Simon-y with the guitar. I don't know if I want to do like some sticky, chanky stuff like they're saying. I want to do more Paul Simon-y stuff. And I remember being like, do you, Jay? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like Jay's a deadhead, you know, like Jay naturally has like this flowy way of, you know, just like playing the way he plays guitar. And I remember being really excited to like hear what happened once Jay's guitar parts came in. And, you know, for me, not being a musician, but being the manager and just kind of like being excited to follow along, I can remember like hearing these various iterations along the way. And that's honestly one of the most exciting parts of my work, is just like, ooh, what did they do now? You know? And like, I remember two things, you know, specifically hearing Jay's guitar parts and like hearing how they actually like came together and sounded in like more the final product. But going back to Clinton's vocal parts too. I mean, Josh, I remember, I don't know if I saw the email first or you saw the email first, and one of us called each other and it's like, did you hear it? No, I haven't heard it. All right, hang up, call me back real quick. And I was in the car with my partner Carly, and we played it, like listening to it together for the first time. And I literally shed a tear, like literally hearing what Clinton did in that moment for the first time. You know, it was like goosebumps and tears. And I remember calling Josh back and be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's so amazing. And it, you know, that's the kind of stuff that I get so excited about. And I feel really lucky to be even able to follow along the conversation between you guys and people like Clinton and people like Jay, and just like really, really feel the magic as it's coming together. And it's, you know, that's why you guys are the shit.
You're the most emotional member of our crew, for sure.
What's that?
Oh my God, it was so good. I'm like, well, that's pretty good. No, it's fucking good. Like, you don't understand. I'm like, okay, is it really? And then I listen to it and I'm like, wait. Good. No, but you know, I was thinking about like when it all comes together in the end, like it really strikes me like how you will say something, Reed, like you'll call me or text me or email me. Here's my notes, right? You know, you have your ideas. I know Goodwin said there was a couple of things about like the first version of the chorus. I was like, dude, I totally get it. I don't think it's that great either, right? And then Johnny will do the same thing, you know. And I would think with like most bands, right, with like, say you had like even a four piece, or even more though, if you had like a 7-piece band, right, with a bunch of guys that had these really, really strong opinions on what should be and what shouldn't be. I know that one of the things I read about like Rage Against the Machine was they couldn't decide on a fucking shirt design, right? They would have fist fights because they couldn't decide on a shirt design. And I know that bands go through this kind of power struggle with the way that their idea of how their art comes across, right? And for us, it is such a amazing thing that we have these personalities in the band between all of us, where we are so mutually accepting of each other's creativity, and we have this weird way of letting things come out in the wash, right? So no one pushes hard for their thing. No one says, no, I don't like this. I don't agree with you. And then the other guy's like, no, it needs to be this way. It's got to be this way. Like, keep this in, take this out. It's never been like that through all of our years as being a band. You know, it's something very beautiful that I've talked about in a lot of interviews where people ask, how have we had this type of longevity? And for me, it has been because I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by Goody, by Kazi, you know, Jay and Gary and Reed. You know, we're all very reasonable guys that are really appreciative of each other's gifts, you know. And what Cosmic does, I go, hey, if you think that's it, let's do that. If Goodwin says, hey, let's do this, this is the way I like it, I go, cool, let's do that, you know. And I'll be like the last one to be like, this is how it should fucking be, you know, like this has got to be the way that it is, you know. And between Gary and Jay as well, like we're just a group of guys that luckily enough, I don't know how it actually came to be this way, but it became this collaborative effort of a bunch of really cool, down to earth people that have a more longer vision than in that short term of this is what needs to be here. This is what, you know, it's that longer vision of, hey, maybe I don't know what's right for this part. You know, and it comes back to even things like merch. Maybe I don't know what's the coolest shirt design. I don't know, you know, like let's do a bunch and see what people like, you know. And when it came to the video, Matt did such a good job. You know, me and him worked on the video a bunch, and Spencer, and it's like, it's all this collective effort of a bunch of people that are down to earth. In my opinion, truly the most humble guys I've ever met, you know, where no one is trying to get their ego shown in the song, you know, or in their vision of what needs to be. And to me, that's why these songs come across, I think, on such a level to where they're widely accepted for the most part, you know, and where, you know, people can kind of relate. Because nobody's trying to kind of show their ass on it, and we're all just a bunch of dudes trying to have fun and make a good tune. And I'll be the first to say that I can't believe that I even get to work with Matt, work with Johnny, Reed. I can't believe I get to work with you and Thomas and Igor and Effable, anybody from Stick, and you know, Iatera, all these guys. You know, Jay and Gary. You know, I had an interview last night where. You know, I said that Jay and Gary were the ones that held this band together when it truly needed it back in the day, and I'm just kind of lucky to be here. And these songs that you know, Mountain and the songs that come next are the tunes that reflect this kind of ongoing, flowing friendship between all of us, and really us just respecting each other and each other's creativity. So. Props to you guys. I love you.
Love you guys. Okay.
There's a couple of interesting questions here. Lizzie B, I see your question from beginning to end. How long did the song take to complete? And we'll come back to that in a second. But there was one from Third Coast Roots up here a little, just a minute ago. What was the thought process on not having the piano skank throughout? But then it would come in for a bar, I think, at the end of each verse. Goody, is that one you want to take?
Yeah, sure. I remember this moment specifically because this was a classic Gary Dredd moment. And we're in the hotel room, and Gary's the master of vibes, right? He just like, he'll come in the room and he'll be like, what you guys working on? Like, you know, he'll just be all lifted. He'll be feeling life. And you'll be like, all right, play me the tune, you know? You're just like, so I remember playing it for him, and he just starts dancing around the room, you know, like getting into the tune. And he's just like, he comes from like the DJ, like selective mentality, right? And I remember him just being like, cha, cha, and then, you know, like, and then I remember him like specifically doing that. And I'm watching him sort of dance the tune, and like, he like looks right at me and he's like, cha, cha, and then, you know, like hands off, like. And I remember that just being a moment. I was like, oh yeah, that's the thing. Just like, yeah, just be tasteful, just like two little moments, and then back out. And I think in general with like that style thought of like being selective with what you're putting in the track, that's just a level of production that I think is a very mature way of going about production. Because we all know yeah, reggae, the thing to do probably from a keyboardist perspective through every song is just to bubble and put the skank in, right? But to give momentum to different sections of the song, to make each song unique from itself and the others, for me, it's placement, it's choice, it's sound, like specific sounds. You know, for me, I never really want my bubble sound to sound the same on two tunes. I constantly hunt for different piano patches. It's like, well, what does this song want, you know? And then always in the back of my mind, I'm like, what can I do to make the chorus feel like it's arrived, like you just got lifted out of your seat and you feel this grand moment, you know? And a lot of times the answer is stripping things out of the verses or the pre-chorus. Like, how do you scale things back so that then when you want that big moment to happen and you have the skanking and the bubble, that it feels like everything got lifted. And I remember this song in particular, that chorus, gosh, I spent so much time like just trying to perfect the little moments swelling in. I think there's like 3 different patches. There's like an organ run. There's a similar run on like a airy synth. And then I remember laying like 3-part harmony trumpet chord right when the chorus hits. So it's like, and then this like the horns come in and high organ patch. And it's just like the whole idea for me is how do you get the feeling of the tune? And this song is like, it's like, what is that feeling when you've overcome a big struggle or you've gotten over this giant obstacle in your life and you finally feel that freedom, you know? So for me, it's like, how do you sonically represent that in a way that other people might feel that feeling of being free? You know, what does freedom sound like? And it's such an abstract concept because we're playing, you know, things that aren't tangible. It's like that we're playing with sound, which is like, in my opinion, the greatest of all the alchemies. You know, it's like, it's such a voodoo magic, and it's tough to describe, but the more I dive into it, the more I'm just like in love with the fact that I can express something very, very deeply that someone else can feel on an emotional level without ever having to say anything. And that's like so beautiful. So, you know, I think with all those things in regards to like little things coming in and out, you know, it's like have fun, you know, it's like get in there and chop things out, get in there and add things. You know, there's probably 10 layers of stuff that got laid on this track that, you know, I didn't even send to Cosmic because I didn't feel like it ended up representing the song well or whatever. So
I really I dug the simplicity a lot of it too. I remember thinking to myself, like, all those like choices of cutting in and out and were super tasteful, man. And I love how it like leaves space for everything. It really it like allows, instead of just everything all playing at once, you know, it just gives it space for the track, for everything to breathe, you know, the rhythmic phrasing and the kind of tonality of where it sits in like high, mids, and lows, you know.
So yeah. Johnny, you know, I was thinking about something a minute ago, and like how a lot of times like your job as a producer a lot of times is to like kind of help decide what little pieces to trim back. But like obviously Goodwin and Josh and Jay and Gary kind of did a lot of that before it got to you. But one of the things, there were 2 like sonic differences that I really remember from the first mix that were like, oh, Johnny, that's something that Johnny tweaked a little bit. And one was, there's like a percussion part that's like, tick, tick, tick. And like in the original, it's somewhere in the verses, I think.
In the second verse.
Yeah, in the second, it almost sounds like somebody's got a stick and like a goat skin drum. It's like, but the original early versions, it wasn't that tone. And like that was something very nuanced that I remember hearing back and be like, ooh, Johnny made that sound different. And the other thing, I think it was a like, you know, that like chimey sound that happens somewhere in the song a couple times.
That one?
Text notification.
Yeah. No, but like, I'm curious, like, how do you identify those little moments? Is it more of an emotional thing than it just kind of comes to you? Or do you find yourself sitting there identifying the things and then like really kind of systematically trying to decide, what could I do to make this sound feel what I want it to feel? Like, what's your process there?
I don't know. I guess it's more intuitive, you know. I just kind of feel it moment by moment. Whatever it just feels like. Does it the you know, it's just dynamics, you know. So like just trying to build things up and break things down. So you know, you just got like countless ways to do that, you know. So I'm always just thinking of things, and I guess I just like kind of weird sounds, you know, like I love like albums like Dark Side of the Moon or something like that, you know. It's just like that really kind of like mess with your ears in a way. So I've always been kind of drawn to that thing. I think the Sweep Up, that was something Goody played, but it was just like at the very end, if I can recall. It was just happening once, and like I was like, it's like, dude, I fucking love this sound. Like it needs to be everywhere. You know, I was like every chorus or whatever, like every time like the song needed a lift, I threw that little lick in there because I thought it was really powerful. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Yeah, it's just every song and every approach is really different. You know, it all requires like a unique everything. I mean, each one is its own entity, you know, but so I always kind of approach it in that way too. You know, it's like I'm armed with everything that I've learned from every past track, you know, and all the things I study about other musicians and producers and stuff like that. And then you just have to be kind of like ready to react whichever way it's coming at you, you know. And so I think that's a cool way to approach it too, because then you don't have necessarily a strict formula to where like you know, it allows for adaptation, it allows for like happy accidents to occur and all that stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Okay, so I want to go back to Lizzie B's question because we actually touched on this at the beginning, Lizzie, but this is a really good opportunity to pull out some of that magic we were talking about right before. So Lizzie's asking, from beginning to end, how long did it take to complete the song? And Lizzie, right before we got on here, Josh found these 3 little original demos, and we're going to share them here for you. One of them is called, the title of these files is Mountain Uke. Then we've got Mountain 2, and we've got one that's Uku Cuckoo. So which one of those should I play first, Josh?
I don't know, because I didn't actually get a chance to listen to them before I sent them to you.
Okay.
I would think that the Uku Cuckoo one.
Maybe the first one?
I would think so, because I would think that like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I just want to remember it as uke something, and I just go yeah, and then, you know, save it as that. So that would probably be the most raw one. I don't know if I want everybody to hear it, but hey, whatever, I don't give a fuck.
Well, so we'll play Yuku Cuckoo. We won't play the whole thing because we've only got about 12 minutes left.
All right.
But this, if I remember correctly, the date on it was October 3rd, 2017.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I'm
So
just in my bed, just like.
All right, so we'll play a couple seconds of this, see what it sounds like.
The melody right there.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's awful. So,
well, so so that's the melody for the "We Only Need" part.
Yeah,
I think that's how it started. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so we'll play another one here. Here's Mountain 2.
You were lost coming away down this open road, just trying to make it to the next stop.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
talk,
yeah.
but we keep our eyes open so we can end up in our best spot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sick.
that's pretty good, man.
Voice memo magic.
So that I thought those were going to be a little bit longer. I'll play this other one here real quick too. This is Mountain Uke.
I look without you and see the sun shining down on me. I see, but I don't understand. Your shadow and raise my hand. Yeah, we're all coming away and it's open. Just trying to make it through the night.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nice.
that's where it started, 2017. So Lizzie B, that's how long it took.
Yeah.
How long was it before you ever sent that to Goody, though, you think?
That was actually that day. Like, so me and Goodwin, like, we have a special relationship, right? Where we get this fire under us, right? Where we go, what the fuck are we doing? We need to be doing something, you know? Like, we'll be in the hotel room, like, watching TV, and we'll just be like, why are we just laying here? You know, this is retarded. We need to do shit, you know? And, you know, there's something to be said with the success of the movement lately, which is Goodwin's true fire to be productive, which is something that, you know, me, Jay, and Gary has that. I think me and Jay are more chill and let's see what happens, you know. But Goodwin has brought that kind of stress level to the band where if you're just relaxing, like, no good. So, you know, I've had the kind of stressful thing of when we do get to like chill in a hotel room together, like me and him will usually room together, and it'll just be like, dude, this is no good, us just sitting around like this, you know. So let's bring in the whole trailer into the room, get all the instruments, all the keyboards, everything. Let's start making some stuff happen. And it was really that day where I went through my phone and this is how a lot of the previous records have happened as well, where I just go, okay, what do I have? You know, I'll look through notebooks, look through voice memos, see what I have had before, instead of just going, let's start from scratch and I'll try to write new stuff. You know, a lot of it is let's see what I have from the past and grab from that. And that was like the first day, you know, and I said, I had a little stationery from the hotel, you know, it was a little pad of paper like this. And I think I wrote like 21 ideas on there. And we were all gung ho about it, you know, and I think we did The Hard Way is on there too, you know, from that session. And Mountain was on there. We got, you know, I won't say the new names of
I was about to say,
so I won't say them all, but there was a good, you know, 6, 7, 8 new ideas that stemmed just from that one night. And that's how that whole thing, he had never heard that before then, and I hadn't listened to it probably since 2017 as well. So I'm just going through, hey, this kind of sounds like something I remember doing, you know, and that's, you know, I kind of have the fortune of having those things that I, in some point of my past, I had recorded that, you know, and I've got a couple other ones on here. You want to hear?
Yeah.
No, I don't do that. But that's how I got started. I don't think Goodwin had ever heard that before, and
I didn't know.
It's kind of like something where you hear it and you go, yes, let's stick with that. Let's work on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh man, Kelly Rodriguez down here. Mirror ? Oh, she's heard some tunes that stuff that nobody's heard of. All right, I'm impressed, Kelly. All right. Hold on. We've got one more question just popped up here. I think I know the answer to this, but Amanda Stroud has a question that I'm sure other people have. do you try to focus on writing one song at a time, or do you write pieces of songs and go back later to finish them?
Well, I can say definitely it's all in pieces right now. You know, I think that we have probably an album's worth of material in pieces right now, and you know, we are trying to put together a time where we can all go to the studio and hang out and do it the right way, where you know, we all miss each other, and collaboration is a little different with this distance. So if we can all get together in the studio sometime soon, we take those little bits and pieces and you know, put them together. And yeah, one song at a time. It's like when you do have that idea and you know that, hey, let's put out a single, then yeah, you focus on that song. But at the same time, you still have in the back of your mind, yeah, you know, I've got a dry erase board over here that's got, you know, 10 songs on it. So we're still thinking about those as well.
Cool. Well, guys, we've got to wrap it up here. I personally want to have this conversation for like every single song that comes from this point forward. So let's manifest that, and whenever we can, it'd be super awesome. Johnny, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us, and putting your cosmic energy on all the stuff that the movement's been doing recently. I think we should all put one out to Clinton Fear on too. I mean, obviously this is a conversation more about the production of the tune, but Clinton brought so much to it in a way that I think we all really feel special about. So thank you, Clinton, if you're still watching. And Josh and Goody, love you guys. Thank you. We'll wrap it up now and talk again soon, huh?
I'd love to just give a big thanks to just everyone who tuned in too. I'm seeing like so many beautiful names that that are familiar, and Third Coast Roots, our friends Polyculture from out in Colorado, Giant Pandas on the board. You know, these are all our brothers and sisters that we get to go around the country, and it's like the group inspiration that comes from this whole reggae community that kind of lights our fire as well. So we really do appreciate all you guys, and we love that we're a part of this thing, and you guys all showing up to come chat with us today means a lot. So
I'm gonna say what up to what up to Chris Morris too from Suwanee, Tennessee. He was one of the first dudes I knew, like as a friend, you know, that was in a dope band. He had a band called Jerry's Kids back in the day from Suwanee, Tennessee, and he had a cannon kick. He's a drummer, and I just remember thinking that cannon kick was the dopest thing. Great drummer, great artist. What up, Chris?
Nice. And I think Sean Pursley, I don't know if this is true, but if it is indeed your birthday, man, happy birthday. That's
Sean
incredible.
Pursley, happy birthday, man. I was trying to find that too.
Great dude, good friend. Yeah, man, hope you're celebrating in style. Hopefully we get to jam out again here sometime soon.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Great to see you.
Yeah.
Time. Talk to you again soon.
Cool.
Bless up, Clinton. Love you, Johnny. Love you, Matt. Love you, Reed.